Hey guys, welcome to the channel. If you're new here, it's 𝗙𝗶𝗿𝘀𝗀. Thank you for coming. As always, for the subscribers, thank you so much for the love and the support. I always appreciate it. Thank you so much. In today's video, this is something that I was tagged in by people on TikTok, and when I watched this video, by the way, my face was like, oh, you didn't say that. No, he didn't say that. Like, that's how I was. It was just so disturbing for me to watch. But yeah, guys, watch this clip, come back, and let's talk about it.
Bro, I don't know if Americans are genuinely confused or they're just thick, because this blew my mind. And if you're not American, this will probably blow your mind too. So I'm from England, right? But most English people are usually white, just like Americans are usually white too, okay? Keep that in mind, this is very important. As you can see from looking at my skin, I am not just white, I have black in me, which means I come from African descent. To be more specific, Ghanaian descent. Keep this in mind. I was outside in America and I seen a fellow melanin brother. Now, when I'm looking at melanin people, I can usually tell what part of Africa you are from your features. And I saw this brother that I thought might have been Ghanaian too. Big up my Ghana brothers, by the way. But was I so wrong? So I proceeded to ask, yo bro, what part of Africa you from? He said, I'm from Atlanta, Georgia. I was like, oh word, but like, where are your parents from? Atlanta, Georgia. So what about your grandparent? Atlanta, Georgia. So my next question was, how are you black? There's a lot of black people in Atlanta, Georgia, son. So you're telling me that you're not from Africa, but your skin is saying otherwise? Yep, proud African American, straight out of Atlanta, Georgia, born and raised. And before I could ask him any more questions, brother, I answered it for myself. These people genuinely think that African American is its own race. And this is actually deep, bro. These African Americans are children. Yes, you heard me right. So I'm sorry to break it to you, but there's no such thing as African Americans. Your ancestors were just taken from Africa to America, brainwashed, and completely forgot where they came from. And that's the truth. So maybe go look at your history before saying I'm African American.
Okay, so we have a lot to unpack here to educating this young man. He is of Ghanaian descent, and he was out and about one day, and he saw another black person who had what he identified as Ghanaian features. So he approaches this guy and asks him what part of Africa he's from. The guy tells him he's from Atlanta. He then goes, okay, well, where are your parents from? He says Atlanta. He then asks the guy where his grandparents are from. He says Atlanta. Now this completely blows his mind, and it's what triggered his very ignorant rant. So in the midst of this rant, it becomes very obvious that the original poster doesn't know the difference between race, ethnicity, and nationality, and has little to no understanding of black history in the United States of America. He's one of the people who doesn't get it. And like, I've heard these conversations so much that I think I've come to a point where I can like identify where the disconnect and the misunderstanding is between black Brits and African Americans. And it essentially comes down to a difference in our histories and how we arrived in our respective countries. So I'm going to try and break it down for you guys. A lot of the current black British identity starts with the Windrush generation, where England invited a bunch of black people from the Caribbean to come over to the UK and help rebuild the country after it was destroyed during World War II. And then in like the 70s, 80s, and 90s, people from Africa started immigrating to the UK. So now today, most black Brits are like second, third, maybe even fourth generation immigrants from the Caribbean and Africa. And because of that, many of you look at black Americans and assume that the history is the same, or at least similar, and it's just not. For African Americans, many of us arrived here as a result of the transatlantic slave trade. Now, for context, the slave trade in the US goes back as far as 1619. Not the 1940s, but the 1600s. So we're comparing decades to centuries. African Americans are not recent immigrants to the US. and the way that black Brits are to the UK. So I think that's like a huge chunk of the story that many of y'all seem to be missing. So like, even like with me, I can go back well over 10 plus generations and still be in the United States of America, because that's how long my family has been here on both sides. And I don't think that's a thing for black people anywhere in Europe, let alone the UK. So when you want to have conversations like this, you have to make sure that you have a functional understanding of the histories of the people and places that you're talking about. It's also worth noting that when Africans were being trafficked into the United States, Africa did not look the way it does today. So like the modern concepts of Ghana and Nigeria and the Congo, that's not what it was back then. My grandparents are older than damn near every country in Africa. I also find it funny that when this conversation comes up, the only people who are expected to kind of explain themselves are African Americans, even though we're not the only ones who got trafficked into a country on the Western Hemisphere. Now, as you can see from this map of the transatlantic slave trade, slaves were getting trafficked all over the place, like South America, Central America, the Caribbean. But for some reason, when a black person who was a descendant of slavery tells you that they're from America, it's like just all logic goes out the window and y'all just don't understand it. But if he would have said he was from Brazil or Guyana or Jamaica or Panama or anywhere else, you would have fully accepted that. So I never understood that. But I'm going to leave you with this, because I know that you do live in the United States right now, and that opens up so many opportunities for you to learn about African American history and culture. Like, you can go to a HBCU homecoming, go to the African American History Museum in DC, go to a soul food restaurant, do something, but you can't just be loud and ignorant like that. Like, do better.
First of all, I don't understand this kind of entitlement from people that you have to meet somebody and ask them things that are not going to be that much important to you. If you go and meet this person and you ask them, where are you from? Atlanta, Georgia. Where are you really from? Atlanta, Georgia. Where are your parents from? Atlanta, Georgia. Why do you have to keep asking? Why? Just because you have parents that were able to show you your lineage or the background of where you come from, because clearly this is a mixed person between a British person and a Ghanaian person, it shouldn't be used as a weapon to attack other people for not knowing where they truly come from. Like, make it make sense. Let me tell you guys, when I left Uganda and I went to Dubai, I used to do the same thing, but it was not in the way this person was trying to make it seem. Every time I would meet African people, we could look at ourselves and smile. I don't know, maybe because we understood that we are minorities in Dubai in some way. I don't know. It just happened naturally. So I can try to understand that, okay, you met this black person and you wanted to get to know them. But if you asked them these questions and they kept giving you the same answer, why are you still insisting? What do you want to hear? Because, okay, you're saying they had features of a Ghanaian person. If they had those features, but they are telling you they don't know anything about Ghana, they are not from Ghana, how are you affected? Also, it's these kinds of people that act like or pretend to not know that African American people have been away from the African continent for hundreds and hundreds of years, not like the African immigrants or Caribbean immigrants that actually left their continents willingly to go and look for greener pastures in UK, in Britain, you know, and stay there, or actually go and build Britain or UK or Europe. You know, so why use that against people that have been away from their continent for a very long time? Like, does it make sense, guys? He was very blunt to call African American people descendants of slaves, actually. How come you don't know where you come from? Okay, if these people are descendants of our ancestors from the African continent, how are you sure that they actually know which actual parts of the African continent they came from? And if they don't know where they come from, how are you affected by that? How does it affect you? I feel this is something that some African people use as a flex to show off and act like they are better in a way that they know where they come from, they know their origin, they know, you know, their ancestors' lineage, they know these things about themselves because they have that connection a lot with the African continent, and they feel they should throw it in the faces of African American people. Most of the times, I have never actually seen a lot of Africans question South American people on where they are really truly from. When a Jamaican says they are Jamaican, it's just okay. When a person from Haiti says they are from Haiti, it's just fine. When a person from Brazil says they are from Brazil, it's okay. But when it comes to African American people, Black American people, then we are in shock. We are surprised. We are asking questions. We are offended. Like, guys, come on, let's do better. And also, if this guy, as he said, he's white, but he's also African, does he go around asking white people where they are really from? Like the way you are trying to tell us you asked this black person on where they are truly from? Do you give the same energy when asking other groups of people where they are truly from? The British people, do you ask them where they are truly from? Or you just accept it like, these ones must be, they are surely from these lands. It was actually more disturbing that when this person told them they are proud to be African American, it was somehow as an insult to the so-called Ghanaian descent, the one who knows his roots. He was offended by someone saying they are proud to be African American. Like, he had the audacity to ask him on why he's black. Like, why are you black? What kind of a question is that? Like, I have never thought of asking white people why they are white and they are in Uganda. Why would you think you have the right to ask this person on why they are black? What did you want to hear? What answer were you expecting? So I guess like he wanted like this guy to say, oh, I'm a descendant from African slaves, you know, that's where I come from. Maybe that would make him feel better. It's ridiculous that we have these people that feel entitled because they are African and they know where they come from, that they have to use that to insult other people. And it's just not fine. It's just not okay. Guys, it's these simple things that actually people bring on the internet and create more diaspora wars between us. But I'll still come out on this platform and call them out. I do not appreciate these kinds of people, whether you're African, whether you're African American, whether you're Caribbean. Any black person who comes to insult black people or just people in general, I am willing to come and talk about it. And this was an insult. And like I said, when I watched the video, I was in shock on why even this video had to be posted. It didn't have to come on the internet. Is it a crime that we have brothers and sisters that don't truly know where they come from? They have to pay money to companies to help them trace their origins, to help them trace with their DNAs, to know where they truly come from. And I really appreciated how the African American man that I stitched talked about the conversation. He really gave some good insights about it. Guys, I don't even know what to add on this. Like, I think he said everything that needed to be said. A lot of our ancestors were taken away from the continent. They did not choose it to happen to them. It just happened. But we shouldn't use it as a weapon against our descendants from our ancestors from the continent as a big flex to attack them. It's just not okay. It's not okay. It's actually ridiculous and disturbing. Guys, that was it for me today in this video. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for the love and the support. Everybody that sends in the super chats, I really appreciate it. Thank you to the members that we got. Actually, I really appreciate your time, your support. It really means a lot to us, me and Esther, or to me. I really appreciate it. Please guys, don't forget to go and check out Esther's channel. It's in the link in the bio. Please go and support her. That's all I can say in this video. Yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Bye.